Well, hello, friends. Here again. I had been looking around at the different media, and I found something quite interesting. It was regarding Juncal Solano. She was at the press conference in Jalisco, because that's where she hails from. And so, anyway, during the conference, I understand that she had something to say to Mr. Alfaro, who had been known for having said at a public conference at one time that the president was to blame for some problems that were happening in his state regarding some protesters. So he tried to say that they were sent by the president at that point. And I believe that at this particular conference she asked about it. So I'm going to go ahead and translate the conference as of this part where he starts answering the questions from the news journalists that are there. And so this one in the yellow is Juncal Solano, but there's also going to be a few other people asking questions. So we'll go ahead and translate that now.
Gracias. Rubí Bobadilla, del Informador de aquí de Jalisco. Preguntarle, presidente, cuál es su opinión respecto de que Jalisco encabeza a los estados con más cuerpos exhumados en fosas clandestinas.
So she's asking, what does he have to say regarding that Mexico has more clandestine or hidden burial grounds?
En este sentido, ¿cuándo podría quedar concluido el centro de identificación humana que promete?
So when will they conclude the Center of Protections for Humans, which was supposed to be finding out who the remains are of, to notify the family members?
Metió el subsecretario de Derechos Humanos en enero en su visita aquí al estado.
So that apparently the subsecretary had mentioned that he was going to be letting the people know in his visit in January.
Y en segundo lugar, pues preguntarle, usted en reiteradas ocasiones ha insistido en que la línea 3 del tren ligero, pues...
And so she's asking also about the line 3 of or third line of the fast train, something about that she's going to mention.
Ya está en operación, sin embargo.
She said that he said that it was now operating, but nevertheless,
Aquí los jaliscienses todavía no tienen el servicio.
But that the people there in Jalisco still do not have the service.
La Secretaría de Comunicaciones y Transportes y el gobierno estatal no se ponen de acuerdo de cuánto.
And so the state and the federal people are not in communication with each other, and they're not coming to an agreement about it.
Podrían iniciar estas operaciones.
And then she wants to know when they're going to initiate these operations.
¿Tiene ya usted una fecha concreta de cuándo los jaliscienses podrían comenzar a utilizar y aprovechar este servicio?
So can you tell them when they're going to be able to use or take advantage of this service?
Gracias.
Bueno, acerca de las fosas clandestinas.
So he's saying regarding the clandestine or the mass graves that she mentioned.
Hay un programa de la Secretaría de Gobernación.
That there is a program by the Secretary of Government.
Para seguir identificando.
That will continue to identify.
Cuerpos.
Bodies.
De desaparecidos.
Of disappeared people or people that have disappeared.
Es un programa, yo diría muy responsable, serio, profesional.
And he says it is a program that is very responsible, serious, and professional.
Que nunca se había llevado a cabo.
That had never taken place before.
Y se ha ido avanzando.
And it has been advancing.
Aquí en Jalisco y en la mayoría de los estados.
There in Jalisco and in the majority of the states of the republic. So we have Efraín that is now visiting us. Hello, Efraín. Saludos. And he is in Ciudad de Mexico.
Está a cargo de Alejandro Encinas.
And he says Alejandro Encinas is in charge of that program.
Y el gobernador también está trabajando de manera coordinada.
And he said the governor is also working in a coordinated manner
para seguir con este propósito de
in order to continue with this purpose,
identificar al mayor número de cuerpos.
So they're working together to identify the bodies or the remains
De personas desaparecidas
of people that have disappeared
y castigar a los responsables.
and to take and put to justice those that are responsible. Hello, Jose Gaspar. Thank you very much. He says he likes this channel because it's for those that speak 2 languages. And Adriana Santoyo says, good evening, AMLO-Vision. Saludos, Adriana y José y Efraín.
Hace un momento informó el gobernador sobre este tema.
And he said just a few moments ago, the governor informed regarding this topic.
De modo que ahora le voy a pedir que les explique lo que estamos haciendo de manera coordinada.
And so now he's going to ask him to explain to you what they are doing in a coordinated manner.
Tu otra pregunta,
And he said, regarding your other question, hi, Melissa.
bueno, ya se terminó la obra y está en el proceso.
And he said, yes, the work has been finished. And I'm sure he's regarding to the line 3 of that train. And he says, and the process is in work. They have finished the train. Now they're processing it to make it available to everybody.
De transferencia o de tránsito hacia la operación que le corresponde al gobierno del estado.
And so he says they're going to be transferring the powers as it applies to each governor or government.
Ya se están haciendo todas las prácticas que se necesitan para.
And so he says now they're taking into practice all the things that need to go into effect. And we have a few people here saying hello, Beatriz, and we have Hugo Ramírez. He says, arriba nuestro querido presidente, López Obrador, el mejor presidente que ha tenido México. Sin duda la 4T, that is true. Obrador is the best president, in my opinion, too, that Mexico has had for years. And I think maybe even ever, but I didn't get to really understand about the other presidents. He thinks that it's another president that's the best, but I tend to think it's him. And Ali, saludos.
Cubrir los protocolos y según información del secretario de Comunicaciones vamos a poder inaugurar, pero esto va.
And so he says that they're going to be, according to the protocols, they're going to be inaugurating soon.
A depender del gobierno del estado, de la posibilidad que se tenga de la operación.
And he says it will depend on the government and the possibility they have for the operations.
Del tren, pero
For
me
that
dicen que a
train.
mediados de agosto. Primero de septiembre. Entonces,
Also, I guess they're waiting for the 1st of September, he said.
sí. Entonces, ¿por qué, Enrique, no comentas lo de las fosas y la identificación? Lo que está haciendo.
So now he's asked him to discuss regarding the mass graves and the identification of human remains. He wants him to address that, I guess, for his own state. And so now he's asked him to come up and talk. Okay, now this is Enrique Alfaro, the one I'm referring to in this video, particularly about him, because in the past there was some there was some protesters in Jalisco, and it is my understanding that several people were taken away by the police, and they were the local police of that state, and they were lost. They have not been found. So somehow he tried to make that a situation where he was not to blame, and that it was the president of Mexico that was somehow to blame. So I'm really curious what happens today. I haven't watched it, so it's going to be a surprise to me as well. Buenas noches amigos. Luna, saludos.
¿Pudiéramos en la presentación? Gracias, presidente. Sí, mientras pon esa parte de la presentación, diría, el día de ayer hablé con el secretario de Comunicaciones, con Jiménez Espriu.
So he said yesterday he spoke with the Secretary of Communications, Espriu,
para poder proponerle al presidente justamente hoy el que ya en función de su agenda defina una fecha de inauguración que podría estar entre el 15 de agosto y el 1 de septiembre.
So he says that it's going to be sometime an inauguration between the 15th of August and the 1st of September.
Ya que estamos prácticamente terminando las pruebas preoperativas, ya la obra civil está prácticamente terminada.
So he says they're almost done with the tests that they do in the beginning to check it out.
Haciendo los últimos ajustes.
And they're doing the final adjustments.
Estamos listos, presidente, ya para empezar operaciones, entonces ya será cuestión de poner una fecha, y también lo platicaremos en un rato más con el presidente. Nos ha dado la oportunidad de platicar algunos temas en las próximas horas de su visita a Jalisco.
So he's saying that a little later they will be discussing that.
También vamos muy avanzados ya con el proceso con la Secretaría de Hacienda del compromiso de línea 4, que ya está todos los trabajos de planeación terminados y listos para poder arrancar también cuando el presidente lo indique. Entonces creo que
So he's saying that they've got all these other things ready so that when the president decides, hi Millie, how you doing? Nice to hear from you, amiga. This is my friend Millie Hadrian. I used to work with her at a hospital, and I'm very glad to see her. Hi, Gayer. Thank you. Thank you he says, muy buen canal, aparte de difundir el mensaje de nuestro presidente, nos ayudas a las clases de inglés. That's right. Thank you, Gayer. He's saying that it helps him with learning English. Not only does he learn about the president, but he learns about translating English. Okay, so here we go.
Es una muy buena noticia para Jalisco, que estamos ya en la orilla para iniciar operaciones de la línea 3 después de un poco.
And he says that it's very good news for Jalisco that they are about to initiate the third line of the train. Miss you too, Millie.
Proceso pues muy largo que ni fue responsable el presidente ni mía. Es un tema que nos dejaron ahí, que tuvimos que resolver, y que el presidente de su primer visita para Jalisco tomó la decisión de terminar una obra que ya se iba a anunciar.
Now this is important to note. He is saying here that the president went and finished a work that was left unfinished by the previous government. Now this is one of the things that is noteworthy about President AMLO, is that many of the works that were done in Mexico with the previous administrations, what they would do is they would do like a eggshell type job, where on the outside it looked like the job was done, but actually all the guts were missing. So the train, this line 3, they took millions of pesos from the Mexican people, and they walked off with the money and never finished the job. And also they usually wound up charging 3 to 10 times more than what they initially made on their proposal and or their bid. and then they would keep getting more and more money and then just steal the money and not finish the work. That was the situation with many hospitals, many schools, and also many public works like trains and buses and all different types of streets. The streets were left half started as well. So this is one of the situations that was left started. And so he is saying he's thankful to the president because on his first visit, he was there. He insisted that they were going to finish that work. And apparently they did finish the work. And let's say hello. Let's say to Luna. Yeah, think puso some Alfaro. Oh yeah, yeah. I hear that Juncal put him in his place. So this I can't wait to see it.
Desde hace 2 años como terminada, ya inclusive van a poner la placa de inauguración y llevamos pues 1 año y medio trabajando sin parar, pero estamos ya en la orilla y el 1 de septiembre, o más tardar parece ya, estamos listos y en condiciones de arrancar operaciones. Sobre el tema de desaparecidos, pues siempre es cuestión de cómo se quiera enfocar un asunto como este. Nosotros por su...
So he says that they're very happy that they were getting ready to put out their plaque about the inauguration, and now they're going to be doing a video slideshow of some of the expenses, I guess, and more information. So let's see what they're going to show us.
Puesto que ver estas cifras nos obliga a seguir trabajando sin descanso.
So he says looking at these ciphers obligates us to continue to work without rest.
Pero estamos actuando, como lo dijimos desde un principio, a partir de una premisa que es hablar con la verdad.
And so he says we're working under the premise that we must speak truthfully.
Reconoció la secretaria de Gobernación hace un par de días, el subsecretario Alejandro Encinas. Jalisco está sumado a la estrategia que encabeza el presidente a nivel nacional para buscar a quienes están desaparecidos. Aquí no vamos a...
And so he says this is regarding now. See, this is regarding the missing people. They say they've got a total missing of 7,180 people that were they were notified were missing. Out of them, there's 5,322 men, 1,858 women, and so let's see, 84%. So what does it say? They localized or they located 84 people alive. 16% dead without life. And let's see, well, that's very interesting. So it looks like they've done some of the work.
Esconder este tema. Estamos haciendo un enorme esfuerzo y somos el estado que mejor trabajo, según el informe que se presentó, insisto, antier, mejor trabajo ha hecho en el tema de búsqueda con esto.
So he says that according to the numbers that they've been told, that Jalisco is one of the places that has had the most number of people found, that because they actually developed a department for finding people that were missing, which they did not have before. And so now he says that it's noteworthy that they were found to be one of the best in terms of that they have actually found a larger number of people than most everyone else. Okay, so let's go back.
Los resultados. Nos falta en efecto concretar algunas cuestiones relacionadas con infraestructura y equipamiento que estamos trabajando con el subsecretario Encinas, y yo estimo que este mismo año estará culminados los trabajos que nos comprometimos a hacer. La parte estatal va muy bien, avanzando con más recursos y más apoyo para las áreas encargadas de la búsqueda, con las áreas encargadas de atención a víctimas.
So he says they're doing a very deep job, and that they're assigning people to be in charge of looking for some of these people. So they've really put a lot of work into it, and they're doing pretty good, it looks like.
Pero hay una agenda de trabajo ahí permanente, igual que ha sucedido. Cuando ha habido alguna diferencia la hemos platicado. En la última visita de Alejandro así sucedió, aclaramos las cosas, y hoy pues ahí está el tamaño del reto, 7,180 personas denunciadas. Hoy en la reunión que tuvimos en la mañana, el presidente dio la instrucción, y por supuesto que nos vamos a concentrar en ello, de que así como hay.
So he says that, yes, it was 7,180 that were reported missing, and that the president told them they have to do a good job in finding these people. He wants them to make sure to work hard on this particular duty he gave them, and he gave it to all the states. Any missing people, because during the previous administrations, the government was actually responsible in many cases, under Peña Nieto, Fox, Calderón, especially Calderón, I understand, was involved with the people in narcotics trafficking and such, and arms dealing and things like that. They were getting a cut of the money, so they were assisting them, and so many people were that tried to put an end to it were made to disappear. So that's so anyway, we got, let me just say hello to a few people here. We got Luna Takami says, Alfaro ya mandó mensaje con esos que están vestidos como el ejército al presidente diciendo que son del Mencho hasta, oh wow. So he's trying to scare the president somehow. He sent some people to threaten the president. And we got Jesus Maldonado García, saludos, ¿cómo están? Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros hoy. Yeah, tranquila, la Guardia Nacional. Oh wow. So they've got there's something about the National Guard are more. She says don't worry about it, because apparently he puts on a certain face here in front of the president, but he appears to have dealings with and or is part of a one of those cartels or something like that. So let's see what they say about this some more.
Cosas y resultados que nos hacen pensar que vamos en la estrategia de seguridad por el camino correcto. También hay otros temas en específico que vamos a tener que apretar, ajustar y afinar la estrategia para dar todavía mejores resultados. Estos son los números en general.
So here he says they're still going to have to tighten up and do more so they can get their numbers up. But this is the numbers they have so far. And now it looks like the president's going to take back over.
Del Centro de Identificación Forense.
También, sí.
Sí, no traigo la fecha de inicio de los trabajos, pero sí está confirmado el proyecto. Yo se la paso a
Sí, ya estamos por iniciar el primero, que es en Coahuila. Se ha avanzado mucho en Coahuila con este propósito y seguimos con este compromiso que tenemos con familiares de personas desaparecidas.
So he says that he's made a commitment to the family members of the people that are missing to help them out.
Muy buenos días, yo soy Juncal Solano, representando a las benditas redes sociales, Charro Político, Nopal Times y defensor de la...
So here Juncal Solano is saying she's from Charro Politico, and she's also representing the what do they call, the benditas redes sociales, which is a group which the president has referred to as the holy web, because the web has given him the opportunity to be able to state his point of view. And Martin Ramirez said Juncal Solano gave birth to the evil Enrique Alfaro. I don't know about all that. She looks too young to have given birth to him. Anyway, so let's see.
La verdad. Buenos días, señor presidente, señor gobernador. Mi pregunta es la siguiente.
So she says hello to all of them, and she says, my question is the following.
El pasado 27 de mayo, el presidente Andrés Manuel López Obrador
She said on the past 27th of May, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador
invitó a gobernadores a tener un mayor control con las finanzas de los estados.
The president invited the governors to have a more active role in the finances of their states.
Me refiero a cuidar la deuda pública de los estados.
And she is referring to protecting the public debt of each of the states.
En este mismo sentido, invitó a los gobernadores.
So, regarding this sense, or this same sense, he invited the governors of the states.
Asimismo, el gobernador Enrique Alfaro, citando cuando estaba en campañas, mencionó
And so, in the same way, she's citing that Alfaro, when he was in campaigns, said, and she quotes,
mi compromiso es puntual.
he says, my commitment is pointed or punctual.
No va a haber en mi gobierno ni un solo peso de deuda pública.
He said, during my government, there will be no increase in public debt.
Siguiendo este orden de ideas, hoy nos encontramos con lo siguiente y me
And following this line of ideas, we have this following situation.
permito citarlo. En febrero de 2019, el Congreso local
In February, I think she said January of 2019, January or February,
de Jalisco aprueba un crédito de 5.250 millones de pesos.
they approved a credit request for 250 million
Pesos.
Pesos.
En julio de 2019,
and in July 2019
Jalisco pide un préstamo para refinanciar deuda pública por 14.184 millones
then they borrowed another 14 million pesos.
de pesos. Enero de 2020, Jalisco refinanció crédito de administraciones pasadas por 1.882 millones de pesos.
And they refinanced credit or debts of 1,880 million pesos.
Abril y febrero de 2020, Jalisco solicita dos créditos sin aprobación del Congreso por 800 millones de pesos. Abril de este mismo año.
So someone says, see that lady with the pink lipstick behind there, the other reporter? She looks like she's mad at Juncal Solano for mentioning this.
Otra vez, Jalisco obtiene préstamo por 300 millones de pesos.
And now again, Jalisco got another debt for 300 million pesos.
Y para concluir, mayo de 2020,
In the month of May 2020,
Jalisco solicita un nuevo préstamo por 6.200 millones.
then they borrowed another or suggested a debt of 6,200 million pesos.
De pesos. Es decir, que tenemos un total
That is to say, we have a total
de 33.000 millones de pesos.
of 33,000 million pesos.
Uno podría decir como jalisciense,
And someone who is from Jalisco, a jalisciense, would say,
esto va destinado, bueno, pues para áreas necesarias.
possibly, maybe this could be for areas that need it, right?
El problema es cuando nos encontramos
The problem is that what we found,
que 5 millones aproximadamente
that about 5 million
fueron destinados a personajes que, bueno, lo comparan al gobernador
that were given to people that are kind of helping the governor
con Mariano Otero.
with Mariano Otero.
Me refiero a Enrique Krauser
And she's referring to Enrique Krause
por concepto de un contrato de difusión sobre programas y actividades gubernamentales.
and it's regarding government programs.
Lo hecho es que pues el endeudamiento ya está
Well, so she says now the debt is there. It's already on us.
adquirido por el Estado. Mi pregunta es la siguiente, señor gobernador.
So my question is the following, Mr. Governor. Okay, now I want to say hello to Carla Corona. She says, thank you for sharing with the Mexican people of the United States. It's necessary to inform because they're lying to us about what's happening in Mexico. And then let's see, fue muy, and then someone here says, Carla Corona says, Juncal Solano was very valiant, different from the other news journalists that are sold or paid off in our country. This is true. That's why I thought I'd make a point of this, because I was very impressed with the fact that she took them head on there at the conference, which was very cool. Yeah, Beatriz, sí, cierto. Beatriz also says that she is very strong, and she mentions me and YouTubers that are talking the truth. Thank you very much, people. Gracias, amigos. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what she says.
¿Podría dar su palabra ahora que estamos, bueno, pues, junto con el presidente Andrés Manuel López?
So she says, can you give us your word now that we're sitting here in front of President Obrador
Obrador, de no endeudar más al gobierno del estado de Jalisco,
to not put into debt more the state of Jalisco
a menos de que sea por causa mayor?
unless it was a case that was very major or necessary?
Y si me permite una segunda pregunta.
And if you would permit me another question. Now look at Alfaro right there. He's like, oh shit.
¿Sí?
Oh, he's gonna talk. All right.
Bueno, por supuesto que es un planteamiento con muchas imprecisiones.
Oh, and he says, but of course, what you have said or premised is something with many errors and unprecise information.
La deuda pública no se puede destinar a pagar a medios de comunicación.
And he says the public debt cannot be paid with communication
La
or communication media.
deuda pública tiene que destinarse para proyectos de inversión productiva,
And so the public debt has to be used for productive public measures.
En segundo lugar, he sostenido en todas mis responsabilidades como presidente
And he says, in the second place, I have sustained that with all my responsibilities as governor
de Tlajomulco, como presidente de Guadalajara,
and also as the president of Guadalajara,
que la deuda puede ser un instrumento importante para
that the debt could be an important instrument
apalancar proyectos para el desarrollo.
to put leverage for developments projects.
Como presidente de Tlajomulco contraté deuda y dejé
And as president of wherever he said, he says he contracted some debt.
las finanzas de Tlajomulco como las más sanas
Tlajomulco, it's hard to pronounce.
de su historia. Como presidente de Guadalajara contraté deuda y dejé las finanzas de Guadalajara con un nivel de solidez que nunca habían tenido.
And he says, as when he was in Jalisco, or he contracted debts, but he left them in better shape than they were before.
Como gobernador del estado, hemos tomado este camino que nos pone todavía con un nivel de endeudamiento per cápita, es decir, la deuda por cada habitante jalisciense está muy por debajo de la meta.
And he says the debt is very low per capita. And hello, Jesus Maldonado. They're in Jalisco today. And Ignacio, saludos.
Media nacional. Hemos mantenido una comunicación permanente, aquí señalabas, no sé con base en qué,
And so he says that they've maintained balance there.
que se aprobó deuda sin el aval del Congreso, eso no se puede hacer.
And he says that they cannot get debt without the approval of Congress. It cannot be done.
Pero lo más importante
But what is most important,
es que con la Secretaría de Hacienda, porque se ha especulado,
because the Secretary of the Treasury, as it has been speculated,
de si este tema es un motivo de conflicto con el gobierno federal,
he said this matter is a matter of conflict with the federal government.
yo creo que no, yo creo que al final de cuentas el presidente ha expresado su opinión y es respetable y es entendible también.
And he says, I don't think it happened because the president presented his point of view, and I believe it's respectable.
Por supuesto que nosotros tenemos que poner sobre la mesa que si se está hablando de la necesidad
And so, of course, we have to put it on the table. If you're referring to necessities,
de tomar una ruta para poder resolver los problemas y el rezago de infraestructura que tiene Jalisco,
in order to deal with the infrastructure underdevelopment they have there in Jalisco,
a través de estos mecanismos, es porque no nos quedaba de otra, simplemente
he says the only reason they did it is because they had no other way to resolve the problems.
El costo financiero que ha tenido la emergencia sanitaria para nuestro estado
And he says that they've had a very high cost for health care in their state.
es del orden de los 5,600 millones de pesos
And it's to the order of 5,600 million pesos.
que tuvimos que resolver usando recursos que estaban etiquetados para apoyar a los municipios, para hacer obras de escuelas, de hospitales, de infraestructura social.
And he says that they used the resources that had been actually designated for other things like infrastructure, schools, hospitals.
Que por supuesto considero prioritarios.
And I consider that to be priorities.
Y en ese sentido estamos muy tranquilos con la decisión tomada y quiero además decir
And in this case, he's very comfortable with the decision he made.
que la Secretaría de Hacienda ha acompañado el proceso desde un principio, es decir, insisto, más allá de la posición y la opinión que respetamos respecto a la ruta que hemos tomado, lo que hemos hecho es hacer las cosas bien y no debe de haber ningún problema.
And so he says that the Treasury was involved in every step of what they did and that he thinks that they've done everything right.
Para que este proceso camine y sea registrado en Hacienda como tal,
And so that it should be registered in a commutal session.
porque ha cumplido con todos los pasos que marca la ley. Y segundo,
And that he's complied with every step of the law. And second,
es un ejercicio de la soberanía del Estado
and that it's an exercise of the sovereignty of the state,
que han tomado también otros gobiernos estatales
which other states have also taken.
y que adicionalmente tiene como respaldo la calificación que acaban de dar dos calificadoras internacionales
And that also they've been qualified by two, I don't know, some kind of qualifying international, I don't know, people that keep track.
en las que nuestra salud financiera, particularmente la calidad de nuestras líneas de crédito, subió de AA menos a AA.
Entonces,
So he says that their credit rating went from AA negative to AA positive. So hello, Jesus Maldonado, and este East. So that's a very interesting name, right? 1, 2, 3 por mil, right? Okay.
Jalisco seguiría endeudándose.
Por supuesto,
So she says, so then you're saying that you're going to continue to put Jalisco into debt? And he says, yes, of course.
que no es la ruta. Nosotros lo que resolvimos es el recurso que necesitamos para enfrentar la emergencia sanitaria.
And he says, yes, because we've decided we'll take the debt of whatever we need in order to make it, get the money that we need to keep the health situation under control.
Se tomó una decisión que se tenía que tomar. Estamos
And they took and made a decision that they needed to take.
en condiciones de tener finanzas sanas y de enfrentar con estos recursos la estrategia que hemos diseñado para la reactivación económica. Es una ruta que vamos a defender como la correcta.
So they defend the route that they took as being the correct one.
Y por supuesto que no estamos, como algunos han querido construir la idea, hipotecando el futuro de Jalisco. Estamos
So he says, no, we are not, what do you call it when you take out a lien against the future of Jalisco? He says they're not doing that, that they're doing things the right way.
generando mecanismos de financiamiento
And they're generating mechanisms for financing
que van a permitirnos fortalecer las finanzas estatales.
that will allow us to reinforce the state finances.
Y una segunda pregunta, señor gobernador.
And she has another question, a second question for the governor.
En el marco de las manifestaciones por el lamentable caso de Giovanni López el pasado 4 de junio,
So she says regarding the manifestations and Giovanni, that's the one that they said they beat him, I think, and then he disappeared also, or they left him, or they killed him, something to that effect.
bueno, aquí en Guadalajara vivimos manifestaciones donde en un inicio usted señaló y responsabilizó.
So she says during that situation, you signal out and you gave the responsibility,
que todo esto, las acciones violentas,
and you said that all these violent actions
venían por parte de la Ciudad de México
were there because of what the city of Mexico,
y llamó textualmente los sótanos del poder.
and you actually pointed out to the basements of power, referring to, I guess, the president, right?
Dicho
Or cúpula of power.
esto, también responsabilizó al presidente Andrés Manuel López Obrador de
And in doing this, you put the responsibility on the president, Manuel López Obrador,
ello.
regarding this matter.
Posteriormente dio otro segundo video donde mencionaba que no precisamente el presidente Andrés Manuel de forma directa,
And then later you said that not exactly President Obrador in a direct way,
pero sí gente de Morena
but you said it was the people of Morena
muy cercana al presidente.
that were very close to the president.
Continuando con esto, el presidente Andrés Manuel López Obrador pidió que se mantuviera en lo dicho.
And so then President Obrador said that we should maintain what was said,
Y bueno, pues que se presentaran pruebas.
and that they needed to prove what, or present proof or evidence.
Creo que es importante para los jaliscienses saber en qué va, cómo va esta situación y preguntarle, ¿nos podría compartir el nombre de las personas
So she's saying, can you share with us the names of the people
que acusan de apostar por la violencia para mantener el
that are accusing of asking for violence
poder y
in power?
señalar con qué pruebas cuentan para sostener sus dichos?
And what proof or evidence do you use to sustain what you are saying?
Y una más, ¿usted considera que ya se hizo justicia para Giovanni acá
And so do you consider that justice has been done for Giovanni,
casi mes y medio de lo sucedido?
where it's a month and a half since what occurred?
Gracias.
Con mucho gusto.
And so he says, very, very well. He's happy to answer.
Primero tendré la oportunidad, como lo expresaba hace un momento, de platicar un rato más con el presidente.
And so he says, in a few minutes, I will have the opportunity to talk with the president.
Lo dije desde un principio, están las grabaciones y están los testimonios, inclusive los tengo preparados por si ofrecía, pero es el caso.
So he says, yes, there are testimonies, and I am going to be showing them.
Lo que dije siempre es que yo creo que el presidente es un hombre de bien,
I have always said that the president is a man of good,
que no haría algo para lastimar a Jalisco. Lo dije desde
and I said that he would never do anything to harm Jalisco.
un principio y señalé, por supuesto, la percepción que tenemos de la intervención de algunos actores que, por supuesto, es mi compromiso, además así lo dije públicamente, entregarle al presidente de manera personal la información que tenemos al respecto y confío
So he says that he feels that that he's going to be presenting the information because someone was trying to hurt them.
en que él la va a revisar y tomar las decisiones que sean convenientes. Nosotros
And that he will be advising and make the decisions which are convenient.
lo que entendemos es que con el gobierno de la República puede haber momentos difíciles, hay momentos de tensión. No fue fácil lo que se vivió en esos días en Jalisco.
He says those were difficult times, times of tension, not an easy time to live in Jalisco.
Y el presidente sabe que más allá de posiciones
And the president is aware that more than just the positions
y de argumentos que se ponen sobre la mesa,
and that arguments that are placed on the table,
yo lo respeto y le tengo aprecio y sé que lo dije públicamente, está
and I respect him, and I have appreciation for him, and I said it publicly,
grabado, están los testimonios.
and it has been recorded, and you can see the testimonies.
No, es que yo sé que hay quienes todavía, como te escucho, quieren seguir echándole leña al fuego.
And I know that there's people out there who want to keep putting wood on the fire like yourself.
no le voy a entrar. Yo al presidente lo respeto y
And he says, and I'm not going to fall for it. I respect the president.
lo aprecio. Le voy a entregar, como me comprometí públicamente, la información de la que disponemos respecto
And he says, I will turn over to him the information which we got to that respect.
a lo que pasó. Es la información que tenemos y se la voy a poner a su consideración.
And I have the information which I will put before him to consider. I have it right here.
Tengo preparada, aquí está.
It's prepared.
Pero es para él, es para
But it's for him to look at.
el presidente. No es para seguir alentando el debate público.
It's not to keep encouraging public debate.
Lo que nosotros queremos es que en Jalisco se garantice la libertad de expresión. Estamos trabajando para hacer modificaciones.
So what we want is for them to guarantee the liberty of expression. Okay, so let's see what they're saying. Mara quiso golpear a Juncal diciendo que quería ella y otros golpeteo mediático. Yeah, so he was trying to say that she was trying to bother him or attack him with the media, she and others. And let's see, Alfaro. Oh my God. And so he had to turn to the president to help him. And let's see what East says. He says something there. Traductor debería de esconder y busca. No se llama así. El juego son. Okay, so hide and seek. He's asking me how you say hide and seek in Spanish, and I would say, yeah, esconder algo y buscarlo. Yeah, that's. But I don't know what that question has to do with all this. But all right.
De fondo en la Fiscalía del Estado. Por supuesto que estamos comprometidos con la agenda de que se haga justicia. En el caso de ello.
So he says, but of course we are committed with justice, making justice, like in the case of Giovanni.
En el caso de los jóvenes que fueron detenidos de manera arbitraria por policías ministeriales.
And also regarding these young people that were being arbitrarily arrested by the municipal police.
En el caso de Giovanni están detenidos y en la cárcel.
And in the case of Giovanni, those cops, he says, are detained and are in jail.
Los policías que le ocasionaron la muerte.
Those policemen that caused his death.
Será responsabilidad de las instancias de impartición de justicia culminar el proceso. Ya esa parte no le toca al gobernador.
And he says regarding their punishment, it doesn't fall on the governor. It'll be the Justice Department.
Pero los policías municipales están detenidos y en caso de las manifestaciones.
And he says, and the municipal police are detained, but in the case of manifestations.
Los mandos y los elementos que estuvieron participando en este asunto tan lamentable también están detenidos y personalmente le pedí al fiscal general de la República a traer el caso para que sea una investigación que lleve la Fiscalía de la República. Por eso estamos claros de que estamos en el camino correcto. Fue un episodio difícil, fue un episodio.
So he says he's clear that they are on the right road, and it was a very difficult time.
En el que se puso en riesgo la estabilidad de nuestro estado.
And he says that at that time, the stability of his state was at risk.
Y son temas que agradezco mucho la oportunidad que hay de platicarlo con el presidente y lo haré como deben de hacerse las cosas, platicando.
And he says he's grateful that he'll be able to talk to the president about it, and he will be doing that a little bit later. And he appreciates the opportunity to do so.
De frente, con argumentos, y no en un ejercicio que siga alentando el enfrentamiento y el debate mediático. Yo no voy a estar en esa dinámica. Si eso lo esperaban de mí, pues lo siento.
So he's saying that he's not going to fall into that dynamic of, them adding fire to the problem. In other words, she called him out on it right there in front of the president, and he's going, I'm not going to fall into that. But hey, man, she was ballsy. I got to say that.
Ya lo expliqué al inicio de mi discurso.
And Jesús Maldonado García says, ahora van a caer muchas ratas, and that's true. A lot of people are going to be getting caught up. They're going to be caught. Like, what's his name? Lozano, you know, and there's a few more guys that are coming. We're going to be getting them soon.
Yo estoy aquí acompañando al presidente para mandar también un mensaje claro de que hoy lo primero es cuidar a nuestro estado y cuidar al país.
And so he says he's there accompanying the president to give a clear message that what is important is to give a message that they're there to keep things going right.
Y que tenemos que entrarle juntos.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the video there, just because this is really the matter I wanted to discuss today. But thank you very much for stopping by, giving your thoughts on it. I see, let's see what they say. East says, ese señor estaba sudando, temblando de miedoso. Yeah, he was scared. That's right. Let's see. Betty, escuchamos. Okay, creo ser Juncal conservadora. I don't know. You know, Juncal, if she is a conservative, she's very much for the president. And I don't really think she's a conservative. I think she's just a young girl who's in college. I know she's studying, I think, to be an attorney or something like that. But she's got a channel called El Charro Politico, and she does really good work. I've translated a couple of her programs before, and I'm really I like her style. She's really funny and got a little up tempo beat, and I really enjoy watching her programs, and she cracks me up a little bit. So I have a lot of fun with her. But some people like her, some people don't like her. I just thought she was really ballsy, talking to this guy directly there in front of the president. So hopefully I'll get to see her program later in Charro Politico. I invite you to see it. They're probably going to be talking about that. Anyway, thank you very much for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and you get to see a little bit of what's happening in Mexico. And unfortunately, I really don't have the time to do these translations all the time. I have an appointment today, and I have to leave because if I'm going to be there on time. Gracias por estar aquí conmigo, les agradezco. Y tengo un estudio, una cita hoy en la tarde. Tengo que estar ahí en 1 hora, así es que voy a tener que terminar. Les agradezco a todos los que estuvieron aquí con nosotros. Y bueno, cuando quieran saludar, entren, saluden. Me da mucho gusto oír lo que ustedes piensan, y les agradezco que hayan estado aquí conmigo, porque en veces es un poco aburrido hacerlo sola. Muchas gracias. Adiós. Que les vaya bien.